While you're using Cognito, you're probably not going to want to use the hosted UI. You're going to want to have your own custom form. And so for your web app, there are a couple ways that you can do it. You can either do it server side or client side. And it's just the difference is that server side means that you're going to call your own server, and then that's going to call the API. And client side is when your client app directly calls the AWS API directly. Let's take a look here at what that would look like. So if it was server side, the idea is that you would implement some kind of a code. And so we just use the SDK. And so in this one here, I'm getting my pen tool out that we're using the sign up action and we're passing our payload here. What are the advantages of doing the server side? Well, if you don't want to use the amplified JS library, which I really don't like, but this is one way you could sidestep it. If you aren't using JavaScript on your client side, so if there's no JavaScript happening whatsoever, then you're going to be utilizing this mechanism. If you're not building a web app, so maybe if you have a mobile app, you can do that. But of course, there is the mobile app SDK, so you can technically call Cognito directly from your app client side. But if you don't want to utilize the mobile app SDK, then you could just do the server side. If you want to add additional server side tracking or actions, the downsides here is that by having to first call your server, then to call Cognito, you're basically creating a bottleneck against your server because it's going to be based on how well your server scales and can handle that. And it's also adding additional latency because now it has to go through your server and then go to Cognito. So it's up to you what you'd like to do. But sometimes it is easier to use the server-side implementation. So hopefully that is clear. But this example here is a Ruby example because I like Ruby, but there you go.